Went canoe camping in Vermont on some reservoir. Early in the first day, while trying to find a campsite for the night, we wandered into what looked like a nice area. We noticed a little weird shack which was made out of plywood. Checked it out to find a bunch of rubber gloves, a very stained mattress and other trash. Best case scenario, this was just a weird homeless person's temporary home. Worst case scenario, it was something much more unsettling by more and more of what we saw of it. Needless to say, we got out of there pretty quick and got back on the boat and rowed a bit further down. Found a much less scary place. Until that night. We settled in an area, it said, no camping, but we were super tired, so we said whatever, hid the canoe and settled a bit deep into the tree line. This was public land and not private, so it wasn't like we were just staying in someone's backyard. That night we're out at the reservoir checking out the moon, stars, and cleaned ourselves and cooking stuff. As we're relaxing at the shore, we see a light in the distance. We weren't being super quiet because we figured it was just some night fishers or someone doing a similar thing. We slowly realize that the boat is getting closer because it had a dim light. Moments later we have a light shown on us and nobody says, "Hey, what are you doing there?" that you would expect a cop or someone to say in that situation. We get creeped out and head deeper into the tree line, and peek from behind some trees. The light, like a mini spotlight, continues to patrol the forest for another 30+ minutes with only whispers from the boat, or faint sounds of a discussion. We have no clue what to do and start getting really freaked out as they turn off the light and we can hear the boat getting closer to shore, no motor. At this point they had stopped talking to each other, so did we. Eventually, after about an hour of this and a couple of us getting knives out or whatever we could use for self-defense in case these were some sketchy people like what we saw at the shack. We can hear the voices again. They turn a less bright light and hear them moving further away from the shore and heading off in another direction. Was super tense for the rest of the night and I couldn't shake the sketchy coincidences. Odds are it was just people having a similar reaction to us, but I still can't shake the memory and what was actually happening in that section of the woods. A friend and I were security guards at kids camp and we were told there was a sketchy dude seen in the later afternoon hours, so we made a point of driving our patrol golf cart all the way to the very edge of camp once every half hour. Side note. We are both female and were 18 at the time, armed only with a knife, a heavy flashlight, and a not accurate replica of Ray's staff made out of heavy metal pieces. At about 1 a.m. we drive out there, park it, and just sit and listen for a bit. We started hearing some slow footsteps coming from behind some bushes just beyond the path. They walked a couple steps, paused and walked a few more. At the point we drove that golf cart away as fast as it could go. We drove right up to our boss's house and banged on that door till he woke up. The next night, the sketchy dude was seen by 2 little girls and sent the camp into lockdown mode. No one died. The police caught up with the guy and told him to stop walking on the camp property. Oh, finally. Me and my friend were camping about 2 years ago with his parents. As being the internet-addicted 14-year-olds, we were found it really boring, so we decided to go for a walk. It was almost midnight and we were pretty far out in the country, so the nearest town was 45 minutes away. Anyway, me and my buddy were just walking along this dark path talking about school and video games when all of a sudden I heard a loud rustle in the bushes right behind us. I looked over at my friend to make sure I wasn't tripping balls and he looked at me the same way. We brushed it off thinking it was just a squirrel or something and continued our walk, but even though I thought it was nothing, it still put me on edge, and every minute or so I would just look behind me just to make sure nothing was there. About half an hour along this trail I turned around to see this guy with a long beard walking behind us. It was pretty dark, but I could make out that he was wearing a light blue plaid shirt and he had something in his hand. I immediately looked at my friend and whispered to him and told him to run, and when I looked back he was chasing us, but he was pretty far behind us. Me and my friend hid behind trees and lost him because it was so dark, and when the coast was clear we both booked it as fast as we could to the campsite. We told his parents what happened, but they didn't believe us. We went home the day after, and a few days later I was eating breakfast while my dad was watching the news, and a mug shot of the same guy, plaid shirt and everything, came up, and apparently cops found him sleeping in his truck with 2 dead bodies in the back. I didn't know what to think except how lucky me and my friend were.